Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria, and this is It's Cozy But Complicated. This is my little corner of the internet where I take Hallmark movies way too seriously, y'all. And this weekend, I watched Old Little Christmas Market. This is the second movie in the Hallmark's Christmas in July movie lineup. So let's get into it. I just want to give you guys my quick little recap. I was going to do this outside, but y'all, it is raining. It is storming today. So I'm inside and yeah. So let's go ahead and just talk about Old Little Christmas Market. This was one of my favorites, y'all. A little, I guess, fun fact is that this movie was actually filmed some years ago. And it's been sitting up on the shelf waiting for somebody to release it. So it did kind of feel like, had that time capsule feel. So I don't know. And it wasn't exciting. It was just... it was okay. So Old Little Christmas Market is a 2026 Hallmark Christmas movie starring Catherine Barrow as Olivia. She's playing a talented miniature artist determined to save the town's beloved Christmas market that her late father started. After a chance meeting at a train station, she sparks a romance with Grayson. Grayson is played by Steven Huszar. And you guys may remember him from To Philly with Love. But there's just one problem, y'all. Grayson happens to work for the architectural firm that has been hired to redevelop the land where the Christmas market is held. But as Olivia fights to preserve her father's legacy and Grayson finds himself caught between his job and his growing feelings for Olivia, the two must work together to find out if there's a way that they can save the Christmas market without leaving anybody behind. But where last week's Christmas Under Construction, kind of barely felt like Christmas, this movie swung so hard in the opposite direction. Every scene seemed buried under garland, twinkle lights, Christmas trees, ornaments, and nonstop holiday cheer, y'all. They went all out for Christmas in this movie. It wasn't cozy by any stretch of the imagination. It was actually Christmas overload. Hallmark clearly wanted us to feel immersed into the Christmas season with this movie, but for me, it just kind of crossed the line from being festive to being excessive. Sometimes less is really more. All right, guys, so we're going to break this review down between the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to start out with the good. Now, I'm going to say that there's not a lot of good in my notes when it comes to this movie, but we're going to start with the obvious. The obvious is that this was a Christmas movie and everybody was fully committed. We didn't have any Scrooges. There were no Grinches. No, I'm too busy for Christmas executives. There wasn't even a sad little snowman lurking in the background. Everyone showed up and they understood the assignment. And the weather outside was definitely frightful. It looked cold. I believed it was cold, especially with the character Zoe in her thick turtleneck sweater and matching coat. Yeah, I believed every frosty breath. I know sometimes Hallmark would tell us that it's winter outside, but the actors never got the memo. So we see them dressed like it's 65 degrees instead of 25 degrees. So I did like the fact that I felt like it was cold. They made me feel like it was cold. Also, I liked Zoe. Again, I liked her cheerful energy. Even though I never fully understood what her purpose was, her character's role was in the movie, she was there. She was happy. She was supportive of Olivia. She wore cute, bright clothes, happy clothes, and I like that. But yeah, she kept everybody's spirits up. And then also I like Olivia's mom. I liked her mom because her mom definitely had Olivia's back. When the guy that was selling the land to the developer, he was actually her father's friend, and her father and this guy actually started the Christmas market together so many years before. But he was kind of at his wit's end. I felt sorry for him, but we're going to talk about him. But it was at one point when he just said, you know what, I'm just going to sign the papers and go ahead and sell the land over to the developer without hearing Olivia's proposal. She had a proposal that she wanted to present to the developers, but he was like, no, I'm just going to sign the paper. But her mom was like, look, I know you, you know me, you know my family, you know Olivia. Give her a chance to make her proposal. Give her a chance. And she just said that and walked away. So I felt like having somebody like that, having your back, was a good thing. And I did like that. Also good, y'all, when it came to the Christmas market ball, Olivia had to choose between a red dress and a silver dress. And I'm glad she chose the red dress. That red dress was very, very pretty. She looked very pretty during the Christmas ball. But there was also a scene where she looked kind of awkward when her and Grayson were dancing. The way she was staring at him, it looked weird. I was like, wait a minute, what is happening here? I don't know. That scene was weird to me, and I'm glad it was broken up with a little bit of conflict. And because it was awkward and it made me feel uncomfortable. And then finally in the good category, because some of y'all know I'm always counting, y'all. I spotted 2 black people in the movie. So that's progress, right? I don't know. But my tally sheet was working overtime. So that's it for the good, y'all. Let's go ahead and talk about what happened in the bad category. So the biggest problem with this movie is that there was just not enough romance. It wasn't enough romance. Olivia and Grayson had a spark when the movie started, and I thought, okay, this is getting off to a good start. But as the movie went on, the chemistry slowly disappeared between these two, and everything became about saving the Christmas market. And here's the thing, I didn't care. I didn't care about the Christmas market. The movie kept insisting that the Christmas market was worth saving, but it never really convinced me why I should be emotionally invested in saving the Christmas market. I wasn't rooting for the market, and I wasn't especially invested in Olivia's mission to save it. I also felt like the movie was unfair to the man that was selling the property. Now, I felt like his reasons were valid. He said he was getting older. He wanted to retire. He wanted to spend time with his family, with his grandchildren. And he said financially, he couldn't keep up with the land. So he wanted to sell it. And I felt like the movie treated him more like an obstacle to overcome than really, taking his reasons into consideration. And ironically, Olivia's biggest obstacle wasn't the developer or the man who was selling the property. It was her own grief. She was so determined to preserve the Christmas market because it reminded her of her father. And I get that. But she couldn't accept the possibility that some traditions naturally come to an end. And sometimes honoring someone's legacy almost means knowing when to let go. And did anyone notice that Olivia seemed like the only person that was trying to save this Christmas market? Her mom didn't seem too invested in it, and the people in the town didn't seem desperate to save the Christmas market, even though they did raise some money for her. But it just felt like it was a strangely one-sided fight. And finally, with the bad, y'all, I'm going to say, we're told that Olivia is this incredibly talented miniature artist, but we almost never see her creating any art. Hallmark kept telling us that, she's talented, but they didn't show us. And for a movie built around a miniature Christmas market thing, I felt like this was a missed opportunity. We did see where she gave Zoe a miniature little figurine of herself, but we didn't see her create it. So those are my bad notes. Now let's go to the ugly. The good, bad, and now we have the ugly. The movie had a strange superpower, y'all. The movie moved fast. It had a really nice pace, but it still was boring. It was boring to me. I mean, scene after scene just kind of flies by, but I never felt pulled into the story. There just wasn't enough emotional depth to keep me invested. And I think that's because the romance was not there. I think that's what I was tuning in for, is the romance, but it wasn't there. And Stephen Huszar, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, y'all. He didn't win me over either. I wasn't sold on him into Philly with Love. And unfortunately, this movie just did not change my mind. I think he's a great looking guy. He's a good looking guy. But when I'm looking for leading man energy, I want someone who makes me understand why the heroine is falling for him. And I just didn't get that here. And don't get me started on the romance, y'all. I still feel like Hallmark made us wait the entire movie before they even kissed. And when it finally happened, it was just, it wasn't really anything wow. It wasn't steamy or anything like that. It just felt like it was checking off a box instead of paying off a love story. Then they had that almost kiss earlier in the movie, and I feel like that one had more potential than the actual kiss. Y'all, also in my ugly category, I'm going to say the Christmas decorations. Y'all, it was so many Christmas decorations, and it crossed the line from being festive to being cluttered. Every scene seemed determined to remind us that this was Christmas. They had the garland, they had the wreaths, they had the lights, they had the Christmas trees, they had the Christmas ornaments, all of that on repeat. And at times it stopped feeling cozy, like a cozy Christmas movie, and it started looking like somebody had just threw up Christmas all over the set. And then let's talk about the family relationships. I'm just going to say some of the family relationships lacked emotion, particularly Grayson's relationship with his father. I felt like this one should have carried more weight, but they interacted more like acquaintances or co-workers than father and son. There wasn't a lot of chemistry there. And I want to talk about Olivia again in my ugly category. Like I said, the movie kept telling us she's this gifted artist, but somehow she was so busy doing everything except creating art. She wanted to run the bed and breakfast. She wanted to run the Christmas market. She was organizing town events and popping up wherever the plot needed her to be. And we're supposed to believe, oh, she doesn't have time. She's just busy. But I guess she would be busy if you are trying to, I don't know, work the equivalent of 3 full-time jobs. It just really made no sense. I'm like, if she really was into this art and loved this art, then why didn't she make time to do it? But anyway, that's just my opinion. And I did want to say, y'all, one correction from earlier in my review. I actually counted 3 people of color in this movie because Zoe, she got a date to the Christmas market ball, and he looked to be, I don't know if he was black or he was a person of color. So I call that a win for Hallmark. Okay, guys, so lastly, I'm just going to say overall, I think the Old Little Christmas Market had all the ingredients to be a really cozy little Christmas movie, but it just didn't have enough heart in it. It looked festive, it checked off a lot of the Hallmark tropes, and the story, it kept the story moving. But none of it, to me, ever came alive. It just never did it for me. But by the time the credits rolled, I wasn't feeling any magic. I was just glad that it was over. And of course, y'all, when it was over, the market was saved. Olivia, she came up with a plan because the developers, they wanted to create a residential, like condos, apartments, or what have you. But she came up with a plan to use storage containers as co-working spaces. And she said that was a new thing. The developer, he agreed with her. This is a new trend. Yeah, we're willing to try something new. And that is how the Christmas market was saved. Now, I was wondering, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a big thing during Christmas, but what happens in the summertime? Like, what happens to this product? Y'all are not celebrating Christmas all year, are you? So that's one thing I kept asking myself in the movie. Like, why is this so important? What do they do the rest of the year? But now that they have these shipping containers and, it's going to be a co-working space, I think what she was trying to say is that the vendors will have somewhere to sell their things all year round. So I think that was a good thing. And her and Grayson, they got to build on their romance, and that was it. So I would give Old Little Christmas Market, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't a terrible movie, but it could have been better. And like I said, I think because we know that it's been sitting on a shelf for a while, so it was starting to age out of the modern time, I guess you could say. So, but that was it. That was it, guys. That's my little review. And let me know down below, what do you guys think of this movie? Did you watch it? What do you rate it? Did you like it? Let me know. I want to hear from you. Okay? All right, so I will ask you guys to subscribe to my channel, please. Leave a nice comment down below and come back for the next video. All right, bye.